Thank you, our dear
This is water. The water that is pumped from the solar panel, from the solar panels there, is pumped by solar panels and it goes to the tanks up there and then it comes back. When you people to a farmer, whatever you should think about first is a feed, chicken feed. Feed takes about 70% of the total cost to produce an egg. And this is what we want to solve. As you look at this maize, all this maize is meant to cut the cost for our chicken. Somebody always tells me that he cannot plant maize. And I always respond to him that if you can't plant maize, why do you think those who plant it keep planting it? And why do you think buying maize is cheaper than planting it? That is, of course, it can't be together. The planting maize brings the cost of feeding the chickens lower. Actually, somebody gave me 2 acres of land at a free cost. He's my subscriber. And when you do good things, some people appreciate. So he gave me the land so that I can plant feed for my chickens. You can imagine. And that was nice. So this maize, I expect at least to get 38 bags per acre. That's not small. That's about 4 tons per acre. And I will do it. I will do that. Planting maize may not bring a lot of profit, but for us, the farmers, cut the cost for us. I was lucky that this land has irrigation, so I can plant anytime I want. Actually, maize here in this part of Uganda takes about only 4 months and it is ready. It is dry. I planted this maize 1 month ago, and I remember I showed you how I planted it. To plant maize, you must plow with a tractor first. Then, after plowing, you allow it to dry. Then you can do the second plowing. You either use a tractor or use hose. You can use cows, as long as you use what is available. That's also my principle. Use what you have to get what you want. So after plowing, you put in the holes, like a hole. You see every maize cob or every maize plant was put in a hole. So you put a hole, just a simple hole. After putting holes, then you apply the fertilizer. You know, we have fertilizer from the chickens. So this is an organic farm. Like you have the fertilizer from the chickens because you have the husks. I do deep litter system. So you remove the husks, you apply in the farm or in the garden. Then you leave it to dry for about 1 week. Then you can come and put the seed. Put the seed in every hole. That's what we did. This was done 1 month ago. You can see how big the maize is right now. It has grown. This is the big maize. So after 1 month, you come and weed. You weed your maize. Then, of course, after weeding, you wait for money. So this maize, I planted a variety called DK777. We are told that this DK777 is heavy, meaning our birds will enjoy it. It is heavy maize. And that means it will save me from buying feed. You know, in poultry farming, the biggest challenge we have is feed. Feed is take over 70% of the total cost. And that very feed which takes 70% is made of 70% of maize. Can you imagine? So when I do maize, I'm not doing the wrong thing. This is the right way to go. When you have chicken feed, you never fail to have a poultry farm. Reason, the chicken feed takes 70% of the total production. For example, if you are raising a day-old chick from day 1 to laying, all the money you put in, let us say, the bird ate maybe 30,000. It means 70% of that 30,000 was spent on feeds. You can imagine. So what is the feed for chickens? Feed for chickens usually it is maize bran, soya bean, maybe sunflower, silverfish, a lime, or maybe shells, and for some minerals. However, 70% of all that is maize. And you know what? Over 20% is again soya bean. That means if you plant maize and soya bean, you have protein and the energy. So that your poultry farm will have to grow automatically. Look at this land. These are 2 acres of land. And this is beautiful maize. Look at this. This maize will cover and cut the cost of feed for some time. Because if I get like 10 tons here, why would you think that I would fail to raise birds? No way. By the way, some people think that you cannot plant maize because maize does not have a lot of money, maize does not yield a lot of profit. No. For us poultry farmers, we look at maize as already finished product. Instead of buying finished feed, plant the maize. And maize is not hard to plant, by the way. You only need to plow. Of course, here I use the tractor. Where I stay here, there are tractors. Yeah. An acre goes for about 100,000, 120, and Ugandan shillings, $1, $1 equals 3,800 shillings. So you can put in your own currency. So we use tractors here. You can use cows for ox for plowing. You can use human beings. They use a hole like this one. After plowing, you allow it to cool down a little for maybe 1 week. Then after that, you come and put in, you cut the holes. Like where there is every maize plant, you cut the hole. Then you apply the fertilizer. And in our case, poultry farmers, we use our organic chicken manure. We put in. As you can see, I put in chicken manure. After putting in chicken manure, you wait for maybe 1 week. Then that's the way of preparing. Then you apply the seeds. You put the seeds, 2 seeds on every hole, and you ensure the seeds are separated 2 feet by 3 feet from each other. That means the maize should be able to feed very well. It should be able to feed, and it becomes healthy. So when you have planted it, like after 2 weeks, you can do the first weeding. But in my case, you can see there is not much weed. So I do the first weeding almost after 1 month. And there's no problem because I've been having a dry season. And again, after preparing, there was a lot of dry spell. So the grass dried very well. Then, after I finish weeding, I only start spraying. And these days, I don't know what happened. We never sprayed maize before when we were growing up. There was no spraying of maize. But this time, there is a lot of caterpillars. They eat the maize. You can use either organic pesticide or you buy any pesticide. In this case, you can use, to make organic pesticide, I think I'll make a video about this. You can use neem, you add in maybe onions, you add in garlic, you add in chili. Of course, you ferment it. Oh, what is this? You ferment it. After fermenting it, it will be able to kill all the pests. But for these days, there's a way out. If you don't have those plants, really, I cannot tell you to go and look for those plants. Some of you don't know how to, don't have the time. So what we do, we buy these medicines in town, and they are easy. I buy Rocket Plus. You can buy Rocket Plus. It is a very good medicine that when you spray, all the caterpillars die. By the way, to plant maize, there are things that you must consider. How is the terrain? Is it in the swamp or on the hill? If it is a hill, consider irrigation. Here I was very lucky that there is some water. The one who gave me this land, one of the subscribers gave me this land to plant the maize. And that maize, this land has an irrigation system powered by solar. You can imagine. These solar panels you see here, they pump the water underground. There was a well dug under the ground. So they pump the water up the hill into the tanks, as you see up there. Those tanks store the water. Then they bring it down. So when it is drying, when it is a dry spell, I can irrigate. That means to do poultry farming, and you want to mix it with maize farming, you must have land that has irrigation, or that is near the water. And by the way, here I want to talk point plain that the government of Uganda is not helping us. You can't fail to bring water in the community. By the way, Africa is 70% agriculture continent. What do we plant? What do we plant really, you guys? We plant maize, we plant cocoa, we plant coffee, we plant soybean. But what happened just 2 years ago, I think, When Ukraine had a war, we didn't have soybean in Uganda. Can you imagine? Simply because the government cannot provide irrigation. If there's no irrigation, farmers can never thrive in their farming, because irrigation is the base of every farm. You need water. So the government should provide at least irrigation system for every 10 hectares of land in every village. Yes, you can choose one farmer, you can choose two farmers, you can choose 10 farmers in every village, in every sub county. Then you put irrigation system. We need to have feed. Can you imagine that the maize we give our chicken these days comes from Zimbabwe? The maize we give our birds comes from Zimbabwe. Simply because Zimbabwe, the people do farming at a large scale. The soybean we use comes from Ukraine. Just wonder, just imagine Uganda is sitting on a very big, vast, empty, unutilized land, and the government is just there. Sorry to say this, but I say yesterday I heard that the MPs received 100 million each, 100 million shillings each for mobilizing elections. And that's crazy. You mobilize elections for what? We need the food. We need to feed our birds, feed our people. You can imagine when I was plowing here, I looked for a tractor all over the whole Njeru municipality. There are 2 tractors, and those tractors are all occupied forever. They are for they are for individual people. They are not for the government. It's very strange. The government does not have any tractor in the whole Sabo County, and this is an agricultural country. It is a farm. It's a country which depends on agriculture. Shame on the government. It's a shame. I can't believe. Sometimes I wonder when I'm talking. I say, we want our people to plant maize. But can you do large scale without a tractor, without mechanization? What is government doing? Try mechanization of agriculture. Make sure there are tractors around. Make sure that the pests and pesticides are available at a cheaper cost. Make sure they are not altered, they are not expired. Make sure our farmers access fertilizer, cheap fertilizer. And you can imagine there's a lot of garbage. The other time I saw there was Kitezi land field where people died. They died in the garbage. The garbage came from the hill and hit them. It killed them, buried them. Can you imagine? People die of garbage, yet you can make that garbage into fertilizer. CatApps has the ideas, but nobody knows. Nobody knows these ideas because I can't share them. Who I share with who? Make fertilizers for our people. Make pesticides for our people. There's a lot of counterfeit pesticides. And by the way, something I want to share with you again. Do you know that the kilogram of maize, just 1 kilogram, costs almost 20,000 Ugandan shillings? 15,000, 10,000, depending on the maize you want. There's DK 777, there is a bazooka, there is a Longo 10. All those maize seeds, they cost a fortune. Empower our National Agricultural Research Organization. Empower our younger people there. Empower them with the money. Give them the money. They make the products. They make the seeds for us. Can you imagine somebody buying seeds as if he's buying, how can I call it? You're buying gold. Seeds. No, this must stop. Well, CatApps farm, we say we use what we have. But sometimes we are held up. You can't have your own chicks. Most of the chicks are counterfeit. You have your own pesticides. Some of them are counterfeit. You can't have your own seeds. They are counterfeit. But basically, the world is becoming crazy. You can't have your own chicken medicine. That's why you see me becoming organic. I do organic farming because I have gotten tired of counterfeit things. You've gotten tired of everything that is on the market, which is not right. What should you say? What should I say? I am trying to cut cost by planting maize. You too can cut cost, but has your government assisted you to be able to cut the cost? Has it? If it has not, let the government come up. Let the government support us. We are the farmers who want to make and bring the food to the table for the Ugandans, for the Africans. Let's stand together, stand tall. This is CatApps once again. Let's be together now and forever.